Welcome to today's episode of Free to Lead, Journeys of Leaders, driven by passion, inspired by purpose. And I'm joined with a very passionate gentleman today, Rich Kozak. He's an expert at helping people brand their companies, and he's been in branding and marketing, sounds like all his life. He's very passionate. And without further ado, I'll let Rich introduce himself and Rich give you a backstory. Rich, welcome to Free to Lead.
It's great to be here. It really is a pleasure. And if you're listening to this right now, just know you're going to hear things you never thought you'd hear, and it will change the way you think about the brand you will become. I promise you, it will be a blessing to your business and to your life.
Great. What's your backstory? How did you get into branding? And where did you start out, and how did you get to where you got to?
Other than playing in a rock band after I took a break from college, which is intriguing, and I'm really glad I got that out of my system. I have a degree in marketing and international business. I worked for a Fortune 50 company for a while, but they don't start you in marketing or in branding. They start you at the bottom. So I did industrial field sales, and I was calling on all different kinds of customers out there in the field. I know what a purchasing agent looks like. It's scary, but I know. Okay, and then I got a chance to work in a factory with a product manager and be a product manager, understand the costing side of business. I ended up working for a research firm that called on research managers, so I understand. I went to school on multivariate statistical research and the impacts that doing really good research can have and what validity really means. And then I started playing outside of my job with the American Marketing Association in Southern California, created an international business division so I could meet everybody who's in international, because that's what I wanted. And I became president, and then I got elected to the board of directors of the American Marketing Association International. That's all volunteer. That's while I was working for the Fortune 50 company and then working for the high-tech ad agency. So I served as a executive vice president of a marketing of a high-tech ad agency. So we're helping companies shape their brand moving forward based on their strategy and then executing all their marketing communications. And I had partners in 21 countries. Look, I loved it. I was great at it. The people in those chairs and the CEOs and those who report to them often don't have marketing background. They have finance background or they have engineering background, and they think branding is hooey, like airy-fairy stuff. And when they realized it's a process, I loved to teach these guys, because you watch the aha moment in their eyes where they realize that branding is like building a pipeline through a jungle through 5 countries. It's a process, and it comes in steps. And if you leave steps out, your brand falls flat. I was addicted to my job, and at 50 years old, I resigned that career, having changed my prayer. I don't think that's what I'm here for. Lord, show me what you want me to do. I'm ready. It didn't take long before individuals who I knew from my network started asking me to help them with their brands. And I tried to snake out of it by saying I don't do that anymore. And they told me I'd never stopped, that I help everybody. I'm in all these networking. Then we sit down and I talk to them about their business, and I shape language for them. And so I helped them. And I was in the choir loft in church one morning, and it came to me that what's going on is helping these individuals who really clearly see making impacts on other people's lives through their work or their gift. Some think their work is a calling, but many people just think it's their business and it's their vehicle through their work, but they want a more successful business. But it's about the impacts they can make on others. That's where their heart is. That when we write down clearly the impacts they see making when this thing is thriving, and literally write the impacts, the levels of impact with the people that they know they can impact and really want to impact, we can define the brand they must become to make those impacts, and it all happens faster. And I got to tell you, everything that brand says and does aligns after that. I realize, having done this for 48 years now, I've been defining and languaging brands for 48 years, and I'm not done. I've got lots more years left. With individuals who want to make impacts on others, it doesn't come from outside. The brand comes from inside. It comes from their heart. And so when you use these 7 steps, and I'm going to write this in, I'm actually in the process of publishing the book, Impact Driven Branding, 7 Steps to Impact, that 7 steps to ensure your brand impacts people's lives and the world. It's a how-to book. It's not a book about branding. It's steps. When you do that, and bake into the brand the four things that a brand must have to come alive.
Yep.
You put yourself apart. There is no competition. The way you say what you do, your uniquenesses, your categories of
Well,
expertise, no one else says them
well,
like you do.
let me interrupt you. There's people listening to the show and thinking, oh, what's he talking about branding? And yeah, branding, yeah, maybe we should rebrand ourselves. I was thinking, doing all this work now in the Middle East, and
Wow.
maybe we should rebrand to get it clearer because we are clearly passionate about making the difference we want to make. So, what are these 4 steps that can you just rattle them off?
I
Or
can't, the four things make a brand come alive. But before we
yeah,
do that, I'm going to speak to the elephant in the room because people need to hear this. And it's one sentence. What is your brand? I want you to think about it this way. Ready?
mhm.
Because you're listening, this is going to change your life and the way you move forward. Your brand is a perception. It's not what you're going to tell me over 10 minutes. What's this and it's that, and it's based on a story and blah, blah, blah. It's a perception in the minds of your most important target audiences. That is your brand.
Mm.
And branding is all those things you get to do to create, to shape a consistent perception in the minds of those most important target audiences that moves you in the direction strategically that you see to go and that you must go in order to make the impacts that you clearly see having when you thrive. Your brand is a perception, but it's not your perception. That is really important.
Yeah.
Land it on yourself, own it, okay? And it changes how you think about marketing. What is marketing? Marketing, your marketing, and I'm talking to you, your marketing at its best is the execution of an excellent branding strategy.
Mm.
And that's coming from Rich Kozak, who sat as the elected vice president of business marketing on the board of directors of the American Marketing Association for 4 years. I use one word to describe marketing. It's execution. Okay, so having dealt with what is a brand, what is my brand, how do I think about my brand? And okay, your brand might be you, or it might be an entity you create, or both.
Mm.
That's okay. But it is a perception in the mind of your most important target audience. And if you're not consistently shaping that, you're doing a problem. So let's talk about the 4 things that make your brand come alive. You don't have these, you don't bake these into your brand, you're going to fall flat. And most brands fall flat. And I fall flat. Somebody says, hey, what do you do? And you explain it and they go, oh, yeah, that's nice. That's fall flat. Come alive. Come alive is, what do you do? And you explain it and they go, whoa, wow, I love, that's good. I gotta go, but can I have your card? That's not fall flat. That's transferring energy with the language that you use to talk about your expertise of what you do, the effects you have on people. So let's talk about what those 4 things are that make a difference between falling flat and not getting credit for what makes you outstanding and coming alive and attracting in a way that is intangibly powerful. Whoa, I love that. What is that? Okay, here they are. Number 1, your brand must be congruent with your heart. If you're doing something or saying things or being a way that's incongruent with you, how you were raised, your values, who you are, people will smell that and it's disingenuous. Don't put on a superhero outfit, okay? Seriously. Oh, it's a great idea for a brand. It's like, stop. Number 2, is this helpful, Will?
Yeah. So that was all number 1, right?
That was number 1.
Okay, good.
Congruence with your heart.
Very
With
good.
the heart of the brand champion. If you're
Yep.
the president of a company and you own the brand, it's congruence with the heart of the champion, whoever the champion is, whose voice stands for the brand and speaks for the brand. Congruence with that heart, okay? Number
Yes.
2, consistency across the board and across the board. The way you look, the way you speak, the words you use, the way you describe things, the way you help people understand what it looks like, how it sounds, how you stand, everything, consistency across the board. Let's get underneath that. Why? If you hire somebody and they do a job one way today and then they do it differently tomorrow and then differently the next day and they're not consistent, do you trust them? No, because you don't know what to expect. Brands are like that too. Please don't make that mistake. People think it's cool or necessary to say what they do in lots of different ways. Ah! I'm just telling you, inconsistency breaks trust. So number two is the number two thing of the four things that make a brand come alive is consistency across the board. You don't say, oh, we're tired of saying it that way. Sorry. Okay.
Good. Number three.
Number three.
Yes.
Yeah. Unique language that transfers energy. There are two aspects there. Unique language.
Yeah.
You're the only one that says it that way and that transfers energy. The unique language isn't enough. It's got to transfer energy. Let's get behind that one. The most powerful language that a brand can use is an intangible brand promise that is intriguing and attractive and intangible. Tangible would be like, we're the lowest priced TVs. Too tangible. Because the next guy comes along and says, no, we're the lowest price, and you're gone. Okay, so give me an example of an intangible brand promise. Okay, the woman, this is from my very first client when I decided to work on individuals. The woman speaking at the Next Level Body Conference next year is an expert at body intelligent yoga. Body intelligent yoga. Oh my gosh, I've done yoga for years in my home, in my $10 million home, but I don't, body intelligent. I want that. What's in there? Okay. That's only 3 words, okay? Get serious. 3 words, English words that we all know, body, yoga, put in a way that no one's ever heard before. When you say your unique expertise, that what makes you outstanding in a unique way, and it's intriguing, and it has value in it, and it actually offers a brand promise, but it does it in a way that makes people want it without knowing exactly what it is powerful. And it's not just those positioning statements. A guy who comes to me and he's in a multi-level marketing business that for a company that helps people put more stem cells into their bloodstream using nutraceuticals. Stem cells are great, but he's also trained in brain science and training your brain. And his first category of expertise is called mindful longevity. He's an expert at mindful longevity, having a younger brain as you age.
Yeah.
Whoa. I want that. When is he speaking again? Okay, but who says that? No one. He does. So again, number 3 and the 4 things that make a brand come alive, unique language that transfers energy. That unique language can be built into titles and subtitles of content. It can be built into messaging hierarchy. It is. And it makes the brand come alive. Number 4 has to do with the look. It's a positive, ongoing recognizability. Recognizability. It's from a lot of things. Again, it's not just a logo. It's not just colors. It's not just packaging. It's not just what you wear or how you stand. It's everything. It's a positive, ongoing recognizability. Now, why do I say it that way? Because you can think of lots of TV commercials, if you will, that we're pummeled with. Let's say you watch a football game, or you watch the tennis channel, or you watch golf. You will hear the same commercials over and over. And some of them, you'll go, that stupid commercial again. It's recognizable. Sometimes you won't even remember who the advertiser is. Probably you won't. It's stupid commercial again. It's not positive. It's not ongoing. First impression is positive. The second impression is positive. The third impression is positive. Positive, ongoing recognizability built into a logo that positions the brand, that's intriguing, that looks professionally designed, doesn't look like pieces pasted together, that the way what your background looks like when you present, the way you dress, the way you show up, the way you hold yourself, the way you speak, the way you say what you do. Positive ongoing recognizability. It overlaps consistency across the board, but this has to do visually, the way people see you. And so those four things make a brand come alive instead of falling flat. And frankly, most brands fall flat. Big ones and solopreneurs all across the board, they're falling flat. And why? We get one life. Look, the common denominator, and I think this is at the core of who I am and what I do, the common denominator, what we do here with all the people that work with us. And we help them write books, and we help them put stakes in the ground and move the brand and create those things moving forward. But the essence is the brand definition and languaging that comes up front, and the strategy that now gives you a roadmap for marketing execution. Instead of saying, oh, you know what, we need is some leads, we'll worry about the branding later. You are going to get 6 bad consequences when you don't define in language your brand. You're gonna, you'll create confusion or misinformation. You won't get credit for what makes you outstanding. Maybe competitors will get ahead of you. You'll waste a lot of money on marketing and you will lose time. And you don't want any of those, and you'll get them all when you don't clearly define and language the brand. One of the things the reason for this podcast is to hear people who are passionate and overcame things that were in their way, and how did they do that, and what did they do. I can tell stories about every client who came, right, and they were in I feel like I'm at the locked gate to the next level of my success, and I don't know how to build the stairs to the next level of the home. I don't know how to get through that locked gate. Can you help me? And it's the way the brand speaks. And we literally have reshaped little local parochial brands to be global brands if they are capable of it. We've reshaped people who are in the financial services industry, and they don't think branding is available to them because of, the laws. No, that's not true. So that they are literally unique in their own way for who they are and for why they do what they do. People who are, we have someone who's a client who's a global director of diversity, equity, and inclusion in a major law firm in 11 countries. And she came to me on a personal referral, and we defined the language, clear language, meaningful language in the area of diversity for the next generation of corporate leaders. It's a whole different thing than what we see out there in the whole DEI business. We have clients who came to me and said, we make uniforms, and we have these uniforms for people who work in dark places because they get hit by cars and trucks, or they get their hands and heads cut off at the dump by whatever, and nobody sees them. And we have this will change the nature of safety across the world. And they're one that felt they had a calling. And we literally defined in language that brand so it would come alive and connect. So its brand, its perception in the target audience's mind had the power to change the world of security across the board. And
great. Good. You got lots of examples of clients. I'd like to, if you would, have you share with us what's been like one of your biggest challenges, and what did you learn from that? And what that brought to everything you do. You're very passionate about what you do. You can tell. You're very clear.
Can I go personal?
Yeah, we want you to go
because we all have them. Yeah. Okay. When I resigned my career at the big agency and said I don't do branding anymore, it lasted a while. I chose to, and I had been investing in real estate for years in nothing down properties and taking the tax benefits and so forth as a highly paid executive. That was a good strategy. But I wanted to do real estate for my own account. I wanted to own real estate. I wanted to help build houses. And I started that business, and we got quite a long way, bought lots of property, owned the property, put it into LLCs, got investors, had a bunch of houses ready to go into the ground. The water mains were in, the houses were designed, ready for construction funding. And 2008 came along and the banks closed.
Yes, basically.
And this did not help that business model. Okay.
Right.
It it not only took the wind out of my sails, but it basically destroyed a lot of wealth that I had built in my career. And so the challenge was to respond. It's always the challenge. Things happen to us in life, either happen to us or we bring them on ourselves, but things happen.
Yep.
And it's how we respond to them that defines our character. So I have two sons. It's a blessing. They're both Eagle Scouts. That says a lot. Not to mention they don't have their own struggles in their own lives, but I have two sons, and I get to be a model of either, oh, wow, I got slammed, it's all over now, and whine and complain, or treat the adversity, in this case, financial adversity, as a test that makes me stronger and find ways to overcome it. And so the aha moment for me of people asking me to help them with their brands and coming back into branding and then seeing how much it helped people literally enabled me to build a new business that overcame that financial adversity. And you could say, oh, what a coincidence, how odd. I don't think there are any coincidences, but we do have a choice, and we choose how to deal with struggle, or how to deal with adversity, or how to deal with what we perceive as weakness or as brokenness. We have a choice. We have lots of choices. So I encourage you to choose overcoming adversity, to choose finding a way, to choose plugging into someone who's done it, whatever you want to do, and say, hey, I really love what you do. Will you mentor me? And if that's you saying to somebody, hey, I want to be a certified breath therapist, will you mentor me? Or, hey, I want to be a stock market guru, will you mentor me? Or, hey, I want to be a baseball coach for college baseball, will you mentor me? And I have clients that do all those things, by the way. This is one of the fun things about being an agency. The diversity of language and industry is just a riot, absolute riot.
Good. Let me just go back to underline something. So you were going through that big financial challenge and you chose an empowering context for what you had to deal with.
I think it came to my heart. I was in the choir loft at church, and I had been working on 3 individual brands of people who had come to me, and I'd said, sure, I'll help you. Okay. And it came to me that using this process, because branding is a process, it is steps. I loved teaching big companies that branding is steps. They think it's airy-fairy, hit and miss, creative hoo-ha. But teaching them that there are certain things that must occur to make a brand come alive and to give it a foundation and a consistent strategy to move it forward was fun and creates a lot of aha moments. And what it came to me was there are people who have in their heart the desire to make impacts on others through their work, through their business, through their gifts or their calling. Sometimes they see it as that, but it's in their heart. And as I sat there, it came to me that God put those impacts, those desires for impacts in all of our hearts. There's one common denominator among all of us. We're only the time we have. And we all have the opportunity to make the most significant impacts on the world through the work we do in the time we have. And so those who focus on impacts on others are way closer to what the book I read every day that says we're here for 2 reasons: to love each other, to share love, and to praise God. And that sharing of impacts and focusing on impacting others and making their lives better or easier or less painful, whatever it is, or newly technologically empowered, whatever it is for you, whatever you do. You might be expert at neuroscience of leadership. I have a client who says you might be applying AI to solve problems in a new way. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
If it's the impact on others that drives you,
there you go.
Find somebody and say, help me. How do I do this so that I don't waste time? Because we only have so much time. Okay.
Look, it's just been great. And it's just for people listening, I'm sure you can hear it, but you are free to lead. And your access has been that discovery, that getting what's in your heart and how do I impact others and help other people impact others. You know, that purpose is you're just oozing passion about what you do.
You know, and the cool thing is I get to do this. It's not that I have to do it. I get to do it. And that is the most remarkable thing for me. It doesn't feel, it doesn't feel like work. It feels like love every day.
Yes. And when you work with people who are they're doing what they're doing, I say to people, if you're doing it just for the money, that will run out. Once you've got your first million or your third million, at some point, it just doesn't fuel you anymore. You've got to get connected to what really matters to you. So
I would love to talk to them.
Exactly.
But there are millions of entrepreneurs who know they're not done. There's more, but they don't know. In some cases, they might say, I don't see where this goes from here, or I want to make higher level impacts, but I don't know how to get there. I really want to talk to them. And please, people laugh when they hear, oh, you've done it for 48 years. Wow, you should be on a beach or on a yacht. You know where I am? I'm on Zoom. And on my website, it says, talk to Rich for 30 minutes. Who does that with 48 years of experience? I do, because I get to. It's a blessing. I pass it on. If you're feeling like, wow, I really need to wrap my brain around this, or I need to see where this goes from here. Take advantage of it. RichBrands, Rich at richbrands.org is my email, and just go on richbrands.org, and it's right there above the homepage on the phone. Talk to Rich for 30 minutes.
I don't need to ask my next question. I was going to ask, how do people reach out to you? How do they get in touch with you? It sounds like you answered that question.
Yeah, you see this above my head. Richbrands.org is the website. Don't get the ORG part wrong. .com gets you to a trading company in Nigeria. You'd be in the wrong place. richbrands.org. And right there, it'll say, talk to Rich for 30 minutes, and also offer you a series of 8 videos that answer questions that a lot of people have. So it's all great. It's all a gift.
All right, great. Richard, thank you so much for being on the show and really expressing what we are capturing on this show, that people are free to lead. Driven by passion, inspired by purpose. So
I love what you do, Will. Keep it up. I love what you do. I love the episodes I've listened to. Thank you much for having me on, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime really soon.
Very good. All right, Richard, thank you. Thanks for being on the show today. If you got something out of today's interview and you'd love to share it on your social media, we'd love you to do that. You can take a screenshot on your phone, you can text it to a friend or post it on your socials. And if you know someone you think they'd be a great guest, tag them on social media or just let them know about the show and include the hashtag #FreeToLead. I love seeing your posts and suggestions. We're regularly putting out new episodes and content, and to make sure you don't miss any episodes, go ahead and subscribe. Your thumbs up, your ratings, your reviews and your comments go a long way to help promote the show, and that means a lot to me and my team. If you want to know more, go to our website, willsteele.com, or follow me on LinkedIn under Will Steele, or Facebook under Will Steele, or Instagram under Will Steele Coaching. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next time.